Okay, well, on with the new year of the Gotta Go Godzilla podcast. It's oh, we're back again, and
It
we're
only took 12 days into the new year.
yeah, and we're if only
God, has it only been 12 days into the new year?
Yes, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
crap, so much has happened.
oh jeez, if only we could start off with a snake monster. That would have been nice for Year of the Snake. If only. But to start off with the monster roll of this one. There's gonna be two monsters for this one because now we're starting to come to the monsters where we are just scraping the barrel for content, full information about these monsters. Yeah, now come that time. So, without further ado,
So we're not in the bargain bin, we're scraping the bargain bin.
surprisingly for this one, Zed, yes, we are for this one.
Okay.
So I'll let the folks hear the first monster roll along with the second one. The first one just played, and the second one just played again. You guys know where it is, but
Yeah, kind
I'll
of.
reveal them. You have Ebirah, the Horror of the Deep, and the Giant Condor, also called the Giant Eagle sometime. Ebirah goes by the name Sea Monster, Shrimp Thing, Lobstrosity. I that nickname I did like.
I
Okay.
still say it looks more like a giant crawdad.
Yeah, Crustaceous Brute. Never call it crawdad though. I was looking into that. They call it more of a shrimp or a lobster before they. I've never seen them refer to it as a crawdad, which it looks
Yeah,
like
probably.
that to me as well. I agree.
Right?
It does.
I mean, I'm
look
sorry,
like that.
it doesn't look like a lobster, especially with those claws. Those claws are not lobster-esque.
And for the folks watching on YouTube, to give them a better look rather than just the renders. Oop, and if I didn't make a mistake, which I think I did. Oh, it's the beginning of a new year.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's it.
There we go.
Come on, that looks like a crawfish. Even its claws. That's not a
It
lobster.
really does look like a crawfish
Yeah.
when you look at it.
It's even. It looks like a boiled crawfish too.
And what's really got me is the It really does look like the only way it looked like a lobster is well, no, even a crawdad is also red. So
Yeah, so it's been cooked.
I mean, yeah. What also got me the giant condo, also called the giant eagle. It get recycled a lot in the Showa era of movies. But Ebirah, to go over more of his stats, go over a little bit of his detail. It is the height of 50 meters. It weighs 23 metric tons.
Tastes best with butter.
Yes. It worst enemy is boiling pot of water. Well, ironically enough, kind of. Its strongest asset is its claws and its being amphibious. Is one of the few monsters I think. I'm trying to think if there's any other monster beside Ebirah that exclusively like to fight in the water, and I think Ebirah's the primary one. That
Oh no, a monster that fights in water. What will
no,
Godzilla ever do?
my mistake. Titanosaurus would be the other one. Um, Ebirah is special by one thing. Is originally they was wondering if they should make Ebirah a bipedal monster on 2 feet. And the reason they went with the lobster's design was because they felt having Godzilla or fight a bipedal monster would be too much. So they felt having it be a lobster on all legs was, a better design, a better choice to mix things up a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. Other than that, its other powers would be regeneration slightly. They indicate that its claws grow back in Final Wars, which is a movie outside Showa, but I'm borrowing some of the evidence because there's not that much for this monster. I'm gonna have to borrow a little bit from the comics as well to pad this out. Um, Other than that, the movie that it starred in was the 1966 Ebirah Horror of the Deep. Um, to summarize that movie, basically on Lychee Island, um, a terrorist organization by the name, let me see if I get this right, I think they would call Red Bamboo. Because when I think of a horrifying terrorist organization, I think the name Red Bamboo. Um, they apparently was using that island as a front, and they was hoping to do world domination. Um, they used a type of yellow fruit. They never do go over what that fruit was. I tried to figure out what that fruit was, but never could figure it out. Type of yellow fruit from Lychee Island that they would ground up into a liquid and disperse the liquid into the ocean to keep Ebirah from attacking their ships. Any other ships that came in, Ebirah is very territorial, very hostile. It will kill anything that get near its water. Um,
Sounds like a crawdad.
yeah, I really, it just really does. um, it spent the majority of the time in its territorial water, just pretty much chilling and attacking any ship that came near it that didn't use the yellow liquid to repel it. Godzilla, for whatever reason, was on Lychee Island, sleeping in a cave. Um,
Until lightning brought him back.
yes, till lightning brought him back. And eventually Godzilla would do battle with Ebirah. It would be the first encounter. Ebirah would use boulders to attack it. Which bring me to, let me see if I can grab up the picture of, oh yeah, perfect, the best picture. Grabbing pictures for this was interesting. Watching this movie like 15 times to grab these pictures. Where Godzilla and Ebirah play a game of catch with a boulder.
Where Godzilla is afraid to go in the water for some strange reason.
For some very strange reason. So, I believe we brought this up. Alchemist, you were saying we brought this up in the King Kong episode.
I think we did.
And I'll bring it up again. But, originally...
Go ahead, because there's a chance we brought it up when we watched this video, and I'm just remembering that.
Originally, Ebirah Horror of the Deep was supposed to have King Kong as the primary primary protagonist to Ebirah. You can see a little concept art right there on screen if you're watching on YouTube, where King Kong is flipping Ebirah like
a pancake.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and the reason they didn't go, and when you watch the movie, Godzilla action seemed very much King Kong like. Now that I said it, you can probably never unsee it, because several things of note. He's in a cave. No explanation of why he's in the cave. He get brought back by lightning. Godzilla is supposed to be weakened by lightning, where King Kong is strengthened by lightning by the Showa era standards. He show unusual fascination with a woman on the island. Basically, Red Bamboo is kidnapping people from Infant Island, the island home of Mothra. So they're kidnapping the tribes people from Mothra's island to work as slaves on their island. And this woman managed to escape. And yeah, it's almost like one of those situations where you see Kong is just, curious about some type of woman that he's staring at. And you see Godzilla exhibit the same behavior in this movie. And then
in short, Godzilla was monkeying around.
Exactly. And then the biggest thing was the first confrontation between Ebirah and Godzilla. Godzilla didn't want to even go in the water. He basically they threw boulders at each other from where Godzilla stayed on land and Ebirah stayed in the sea, tossing the boulder at Godzilla and vice versa. So it was, and the fight ultimately ended with Godzilla remembering, hey, I have atomic breath, and shooting at Ebirah and scaring it away.
And none of us were invited to the crawdad oil.
Not, well, that would come next. That would come, let's see if I got that, with the death. Well, the defeat of Ebirah is revealed later on via a side book that Ebirah would die of his wounds, but needless to say, once Godzilla got in the water, Ebirah tried to put up a good fight. He did.
It might have.
Well, he did catch Godzilla in a death roll. For those who don't know, when an alligator, death roll is associated with alligators and crocodiles, where they would bite onto you and then start to roll, thus tripping you and ultimately ripping that limb off. If they catch you properly enough. And Ebirah do try to do that to Godzilla. It doesn't work out well, but he does try.
No, might have had a better chance against a giant monkey, but not Godzilla.
Exactly, and that's where this movie you when you watch this, you just wonder the whole time, why would you pick Godzilla against a giant lobster? He's gonna cook it.
I mean, literally,
Kong was allergic to shellfish.
Yeah.
But Kong, on the other hand, him going underwater to have to fight this thing would have been a major problem for him. That would actually been a viable threat of a monster for Kong to fight.
And Kong doesn't have the atomic breath, so he couldn't use the excuse of just cooking him.
And throwing boulder at it would explain why Kong would do that to fight it, whereas Godzilla wouldn't do that. He would just get in the water and fight it. So it all start making sense. When you find out it was originally supposed to be Kong, the whole movie start to make sense at that point.
Pretty much.
And now, oh, and we can't forget the giant Condor. We've had him up in the picture. Unfortunately, anyone want to take any guess how he dies?
Atomic breath.
Oh, right on the money.
I'm just calling him generic bird thing.
That's how Toho referred to it as well. Because basically they would use stock footage of it again to show it being killed by Godzilla in the exact same way. In, I believe, the movie Godzilla Destroy All Godzilla Destroy All Monster. The one with the to give you context, Archimage, because I know you've seen this movie. The one with the fever dream of the kid who is
yeah.
yes. We'll get to that one soon.
Not one of my favorite Godzilla movies.
Oh, then we'll be getting to that one real soon too.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the Condor's greatest enemy is Godzilla's atomic breath and the Colonel. Not a good day for it.
Nope, I just say a good day for fried chicken.
Pretty much.
Now,
yes.
question.
Yes.
When that bird gets fried and served up, is that an extra large size or is that like a grande size?
Who are we talking about? Humans or Godzilla?
Well, I mean, cooking of the atomic bird, because obviously it's extra crispy after that atomic breath. Just will the Colonel serve it as extra large or grande?
Funny enough, it gets shot in the face with the atomic breath, and then it crashed into the ocean.
Ah, damn. So it literally got fried.
It literally got deep fried. Other things to note. That's pretty much all I can say. The giant Condor, he really only shows up in this movie and in the movie with Destroy All Monster. And in that one, he's literally stock footage. They call him a giant eagle in that movie rather than a giant Condor. So literally, they're just reusing assets for that movie. Not that much is known about it. It flies at the speed of Mach 1. Um, it got beaks and talons, but clearly it's not that resilient against fire. Um, and then with Ebirah, they talk about his durability in Final Wars, but since this is Showa era, I don't want to use that too much. Um, but I'll at least allude to it and say that they say he's resistant to tank barrages and most modern arms, so from jets and plane, but against more of the sci-fi stuff that they use on Godzilla monsters, like the maser cannons, which is something I don't think we've ever got to maser cannons in any of these.
No, we have not.
And I believe, and the problem is, I don't think masers start to become a huge factors until the end of the Showa and the beginning of the Heisei period. I don't believe that they've used maser cannons yet in the Godzilla front. No, I don't. I don't think they use those until.
I want to say that they haven't, but I'm not going to even pretend to really remember because I've never seen the Godzilla movies in any type of chronological order.
I believe they don't get to them till Gigan or until I believe Titanosaurus. Like it's very late. It's usually in the Heisei era where they get to the maser technology because it's more in the future. Oh, more present day, I should say. So the rest of this we'll be talking about some of the comics, because while the comics do have him fighting Heisei era monsters, he seemed to be still the Showa era Ebirah. So in this one I'm currently showing on screen is Godzilla. This will be from the Godzilla comic called Godzilla Rivals. Ebirah versus Rodan. Although this version of Rodan is more closer akin to Fire Rodan. All in all, Ebirah does put up a good fight. Surprisingly enough, a very good fight. An extremely well fight, all things considered, because he actually do beat Rodan.
That's impressive.
That's very impressive, considering Rodan went toe-to-toe with Godzilla and fought him to a stalemate.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, to put some caveat in it,
were they underwater?
They were in a space station. And the tube you see them fighting in the upper left-hand corner, if you're watching this on YouTube, they're in a space elevator, crashing down towards Earth.
I have questions.
So, again, I haven't fully read this chapter in detail. I was skimming it, so I would be at least informed on what was going on. Basically, my knowledge of it is Ebirah, Rodan, and several other monsters are being kept in the space station above Earth. There's a giant space elevator connecting the space station to Earth. Ebirah, Rodan get out, and they start fighting with each other. And eventually they start crashing down towards also Mothra is up there as well. They crash onto the space elevator and they start crashing down towards Earth. And it's during that fall through the space elevator that they're really going at each other. And Ebirah would get a decisive hit on Rodan. It would tear up its wings. And it would
that would suck.
It would use its claw to choke out Rodan before it could use its fire breath, its uranium heat beam attack, to attack it. So
that works.
It actively did. And at the end of the book, Ebirah is conscious enough, long enough to escape from the humans before they can recapture it. Rodan is knocked out.
Damn.
So
so we get turkey instead of a crawfish foil.
Yeah. So it actually did. It's a scrapper. I'll give it that. Um, and then the next book we would see it in, the next comic book, um, where it's have a very notable role, is Godzilla. Here There Be Dragons. This book I don't have. I'm trying to get the book. It's not hard book to get. It's just I chose to get Godzilla Rivals first. For this one particularly, this follows the sailor Nathan Drake. Not Nathan Drake. Sir Drake. Oh, what's the name of that famous?
Sir Francis Drake.
Thank you, Archimage. Sir Francis Drake. I've been thinking.
I was about to say
Uncharted.
it better not be Nathan Drake because I'm pretty sure that the creators of Uncharted would have something to say about that.
Yes, this is Sir Francis Drake. This is following one of his voyages for treasure, where they basically find the treasure, but it's being guarded by Godzilla. And then while on that island, they discover Ebirah. So they figured the best way to deal with Godzilla is to get Ebirah to pick a fight with it, to distract it. And needless to say, throwing TNT in its face to piss it off was enough to make it chase them towards Godzilla. And once it met with Godzilla, surprisingly enough, as you can see if you're looking on YouTube, it was strong enough to pick up Godzilla and carry it into the water.
Which is a bad idea.
Well, which will you think?
Still impressive it can pick up Godzilla because Godzilla weighs quite a substantial bit, but still.
To put it in, that's 20,000 metric tons. So 44 million pounds in freedom units. So, well, one thing to note is, on land, Godzilla would easily kill it. In the sea, it has a better chance at fighting Godzilla.
Really?
They claim that. So multiple times in the book, they claim that it would have the edge in the sea, and that And to be fair, it is a lobster. If there's any place I would expect a giant lobster to be at an edge, it would be in the water. Now, and they even go into detail talking about how on land Godzilla would easily beat it, but under the sea, it had the advantage against Godzilla. But then they had a but on the page. And that but was followed by the phrase, to Godzilla, advantage matter very little. And the next page was not a good day for Ebirah, as Godzilla literally rips his arm off and beat it to death with it.
That sounds about right.
The fight is so one-sided. They literally have to get the Kraken, a giant octopus. This is the reoccurrence of the giant octopus from King Kong, to assist it. And even both of them working together was enough to stop Godzilla from beating both of them down.
I believe that.
So, one of Ebirah's big weakness, in my opinion, having his claws ripped off.
I mean, yeah.
Every one of these, it seemed like Ebirah's get his claws ripped off.
Well, to be fair, I think they will grow back.
They do grow back in one of the version of in the comic book. They specifically mentioned that one of the reasons they are using Ebirah is because they feel his shell is durable enough to make new types of armor, and that he lives for a long time. Surprisingly, they think Ebirah may have been alive during the time of the dinosaurs type deal. That he just never died of old age, essentially.
I could see that. On a side note, crawfish, or if you want to be technical, crayfish,
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Their claws do technically regenerate.
Okay, so...
well, there's no technically. They do regenerate. Like, if they lose them, they can grow them back, just like crabs.
What about lobsters?
I think lobsters, too.
Yes,
yeah, I think
lobsters do have the ability to grow back their limbs.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, no, so that is actually, like, absolutely true. That's not Japan misunderstanding things.
And that may also explain why one claw is bigger than the other.
Yeah, because that's also common with crabs.
So, um, other than that, other than Godzilla being one of his noble major enemies, there are two other enemies that Ebirah has. And this is a special mention.
A giant pot of water.
Well, yes. Also a stick of butter. Also, those nutcrackers you would use to break open the claws of a crab.
And the entire state of Louisiana.
A giant. God damn. God.
I mean, you're not wrong.
The killing part Archimage. That's not the worst joke. I wanted to make a joke about the Condo's biggest enemy being, besides KFC, will also be. I'm not. You know what? I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it because that's gonna get us canceled. I will say it as we switch to the next part when we're off air.
I feel I know what it is, but I'll
You
wait
feel
for
you
to
know what
say
it is. Okay?
I'm pretty sure I know what it is too.
Okay, so I won't even drop it. His other enemy, Emperor's other enemies, would be Dave the Diver and Miki Shigusa. I hope I'm not butchering that. Shigusa. Saegusa. I think I may be butchering the Japanese pronunciation of that. I know I am.
Okay. You know those two are from Louisiana.
Dave the Diver, yes. Miki is from Japan though. So Miki is actually a character we'll get to when we get to the Heisei era of Godzilla. See, specifically from the G-Force unit, a unit devoted to taking on kaiju, specifically Godzilla. Dave the Diver is a character from a video game where you basically play as a diver whose job is to catch fish so he can serve them up at his sushi restaurant.
I was gonna say that actually. You know what? I was gonna make a joke that was the story, but that turns out to be exactly what it is.
Is exactly what it is. And the game developers of Dave the Diver released free DLC where basically Dave the Diver will encounter Miki, who is following Godzilla after a battle with Ebirah. And for those who are watching on YouTube, we'll release a part specifically for those on YouTube where we get to see the adventures of Dave the Diver along with Miki working together with Godzilla to deal with Ebirah.
Ha.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, yes. You get to watch me play Dave the Diver. Fun game. I will say that. Very fun game. But other than that, anything to say about our friendly neighborhood crawdad? Or our giant condor, also giant eagle?
I'm just gonna say, if that thing actually existed, it would unite the entire state of Louisiana into a frenzied hunting party to get this thing into a crawfish boil. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. What I'm curious about now, let's see. How much does... I'm just curious, because Ebirah is described as a giant lobster by Toho, even though it looked like a crawdad. It's described as a lobster. How much did lobsters sell for? What's the current market price of a lobster? I'm just curious because this is gonna be, what is a lobster's current market price? Let's go with the live Maine lobster because that's the most famous. Currently 13 to 15 per pound. We'll go on the high end, $15 per pound. And Ebirah weighs 2,300 metric tons. Let's just find out. I'm just curious. That's about big ass number. 50,706 and 320 pounds.
Damn.
So let's just find out how much money that'll be. $760,594,800 if we was to catch and eat and sell Ebirah as lobster meat.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This is just more incentive.
No, it is. Here's the last thing we'll end this on. How much do you think the giant condor would fetch us for at KFC? That's the last number we gotta figure out. So hang on. Let's see. 2,000 metric tons comes out to how much is that? Comes out to 4,409,245 and 245 pounds. How much is chicken at KFC?
I genuinely don't know.
I have no clue.
I'm
I
finding out. I'm finding out because this is for
Like,
science.
I have
now.
not eaten KFC for ages.
This is science.
Pulling up the menu.
Okay, I got it. So the market price of chicken at KFC is $3.80.
Okay.
Sounds right.
That sounds reasonable. So that's about $16,755,131. So you know what? This sounds like an average meal for the average American right here. Lobster mixed with chicken.
The only thing I'm hearing is we need to get in the business of hunting kaiju so we can sell them for profit.
And
I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that hasn't been touched on in any movie.
Well, it may get touched on in Dave the Diver.
There you go.
But
that should be a blockbuster movie. I mean, we had an entire weird-ass movie where Japan went after giant sushi monsters.
Sushi
we should have
Wars,
a movie. Yeah, we should have a movie where they're hunting Godzilla's leftovers and use them to solve world hunger.
I'm trying to think, was that actually a movie at one point? Because that's
I can see now. 11 from Stranger Things going, what happened to the monster Godzilla killed? Oh, it's medium rare. Do you like it?
I can't remember, but I believe that was a concept in one of the one Godzilla media. I can't remember which one it was, where they were considering if they should try to eat the monsters that are left behind after the kaiju battles. And I believe their argument of why they couldn't, they're all radioactive.
Yeah. That figures.
Oh, but other than that, any other questions, comment, or statements about Ebirah? Horror of the Deep.
I mean, honestly, the radiation just sounds like normal American food, but okay.
Sad but true. I don't even have a funny comeback. That's just a sad reality right now. You open a bag of Dorito and you're like, it's not supposed to be that color.
The amount of dyes and chemicals in our food. I mean,
I don't like to
crazy.
think about it. I don't like to think about it because I actively talk to people from other countries, and when they see the color of our food and they compare it to the same brand of food that they buy in their country, they're like, "Why is yours so bright?"
We might as well tell them kaiju blood.
That would actually be healthier. Sad, there's so much sad truth to this one.
I'm laughing out of pity.
Oh, but other than that, anything else to add about Ebirah or the giant condor?
It's a damn crawfish.
And a giant chicken, yes, I know. Well, other than that, for for those who are listening on Spotify, all two of you, thank you. For those, you're right, it's too big for all one of you who accidentally clicked on this and then clicked off of it.
You don't count as the person making sure the upload
Okay,
worked.
for all 0 of you, yes. But for those of you who for some reason find your way to listening to this, head over to YouTube. It'll be in the description. We're gonna have a bonus episode of watching Ebirah in the one game appearance, probably the one modern Sonic game in the last couple years, with Dave the Diver going up toe to toe with Ebirah, along with Godzilla.
He's from Louisiana. I'm putting my money on him.
Oh yeah, you should. Other than that, we'll catch you all next time for the next. I can tell Argument's gonna like the next one. Give you 2 guesses.
Wait, the next monster?
Yeah, I'll give you 2 guesses.
I'm gonna like it.
Yes, in a very ironic, hateful way.
Oh God, it's not Melina, is it?
Oh, Manila?
Yeah.
Yes. Got in one. I knew you would get in one. Is also going to include two other kaijus. You know what? Scratch that. That'll be too long. It's going to include 1 other kaiju. I'll save the 2 other kaijus for their own episode. Yes, I'll try to save them for their own episode and try.
Is this the fever dream? This is the fever dream, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Again, not a fan of this Godzilla.
Depending on how long the script is for Manila and how much content I have, I may or may not include 2 other kaijus, namely 2 other bug kaijus. And the Fever Dream kaiju as well.
Sounds fun.
Other than that, tune in next time where we torture Alchemist with his favorite kaiju.
Hooray.